Our next speaker, Mr. Hussein Hassan, Acting Director of Industry, Mining, Investment and Tourism at the African Union Commission. Over to you, Mr. Hussein.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure and honor to present to you a PowerPoint presentation on the digital transformation strategy for Africa 2023. The content of my presentation is the following: introduction, vision, overall objective, guiding principle, foundational pillar, critical sectors, African Union e-commerce, and policy recommendation and way forward. As you are aware, the digital transformation for Africa is one of the most priority area for the work of the Commission, especially in the light of the pandemic COVID-19, which really imposed and make imperative that we should really respond to the dynamic change over the world to have a really digital transformation. You see how much the incredible increasing of investment on the digitalization as a statistical showing that. I can give you one of statistics that saying that digital transformation is projected to reach to a total USD 6.8 trillion between 20 and 23. The pre-COVID forecast was 2.3 trillion up to 2023 across the world. It's showing that a very high, a really extreme increasing on investment for the digitalization. As you are aware that Africa has a big challenges to really to be inside the game of quick movement towards the digitalization, that such kind of infrastructure and the utilization of the internet as ranked the low continent among others. As you see, Africa Internet Statistics in December 31, 2020, Africa account only for 12.8% of the world internet users. Internet World Statistics, 30 September 2020. It's showing that even the basic infrastructure need to really extreme efforts to come to the minimum standard for really to be on the light of digitalization. You know, African member state has adopted digital transformation strategy in December 2019 in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, which is really a continental framework and legal strategy to be really common cooperation and work for the Africa continents, including 55 member states, to work together with the regional economic communities, with other stakeholders. The vision of this strategy is an integrated and inclusive digital society and economy in Africa that improves the quality of life of Africans' citizens, strengthening the existing economic sector, enable its diversification and development, and ensure continental ownership with Africa as a producer and not only a consumer in the global economy. The objective of the strategy is to harness digital technology and innovation to transform Africa societies and economy to promote Africa integration, generate inclusive economic growth. Of course, job creation, again, fighting against poverty, and really to improve the lifestyle of African people. You see this shape or diagram, it's showing the main components of the digital transformation strategy. In the center, you see the inclusive digital society and economy. As we took in or take the approach as the African Union Commission in comprehensive manner, it really on integrated dimension for all components of digitalization. So you will see not only the digitalization itself as a technology, but to be implementable in all economic production and the services sector. You see digital governance, digital health, digital industry, digital trade and finance service, digital agriculture. You see also 6 critical sectors in the left side serve guideline principles. You see solidarity, you see comprehensive, transformative, inclusive, home ground, new ministers, safety. So those are the 7 guidance principles of the digitalization transformation strategy of African Union. When we go to the right side, we'll see 8 strategies enablers for implementation of this strategy. Number 1 is principle commitment, strengthening implementation, financing and investment, private sector and civil society engagement as a key players, and we need to listen the voice of private sector because it will be the implementing by private sector, and also civil society have a soft power in this concern. Also regional integration cooperation, capacity development and capacity building, advocacy and awareness, and lastly, monitoring and evaluation for implementation of the strategy. We will find also 5 cross-cutting issues, themes for the strategy: content application, digital ID, engineering technology, and cybersecurity, and personal data protection. For foundations pillars, enabling experiments, policy and regulation, digital transformation, and so on. Those are main components and main elements and main pillars of the strategy itself. As I said that earlier, that this strategy has adopted by the ministers of communication, as well as adopted by heads of states during the summit of January 2020. The principles I have indicated earlier, as you see on the screen, also foundational pillars, enabling environment policy, regulation, digital infrastructure, skills and human capacity, innovation, entrepreneurship, critical sectors I indicated earlier, as you see on the screen. Coming to one of the main really pillar or main elements or components of e-commerce strategy. In this regard, I would like to indicate about the percentage of the intra-Africa trade, which is around 15% from the global trade of from the trade of Africa with the world. So 15% internally trade among other in Africa, which is very low. On the other hand, we'll find also around 15 also trade by 15% the amount of trade or the volume of trade by informal sector. Digitalization, of course, will really have a really strong support to bring the informal sector to be a formal sector. This is background or information about the meetings has done by African Union Commission for member states and concerned ministers to really urge on the necessary and imperative creation of the e-commerce strategy. In a many or number of the conference really highly recommended to really create and adopt this e-commerce. Especially it will be one of the main successful factor of implementation of African continental free trade area. So I will not go to much details about the background and the the meetings and the conference has led to create this strategy. I can go directly to the objective of EU e-commerce strategy. The strategy seeks to establish the key challenges of the e-commerce ecosystem in Africa. It is also seek to develop action plan with activities recommended to member states, RICS, and development partners to carry out with the aim of fostering development of e-commerce ecosystem. Key players, the main key players as expected to make use the recommendation and implement on the ground, African Union Commission, African Union member state, regional economic communities, development institutions, and economic partners and other relevant stakeholders. So cross-cutting themes for the e-commerce, as you see on the screen: digital content, digital ID, emerging technology, cyber security, research and development. When we go to the strategic enablers for the strategy, you will find, as shown in the screen, political commitment, strengthening. It's not so far from the digital transformation, main digital transformation strategy. Status of the implementation or creation and completing the e-commerce strategy. Following consultation with the different stakeholders, including regional economic communities, RICS, development partners, first draft of the e-commerce was developed in March 2021. The draft circulated to all member states, RICS, and all other stakeholders for comments and inputs. In July 2021, consultative meeting on the strategy was held to gather the all final comments and inputs from member state and the stakeholders. Work on the final draft of the strategy currently ongoing to take consideration all the final comments and inputs presented during the consultative meeting. Policy recommendations and action for both of transformation or digital transformation strategy and e-commerce strategy to develop to be really, the African Union Commission has prioritized impact areas to kickstart implementation, development of Africa's digital health education implementation strategy, development Africa digital education, creation of enabling environment for creation of digital single market by development the following: policy recommendation and the proposed action continues as a continental strategy methodology for harmonization, digital policy, legal regulation framework, a continental cybersecurity, development continental data policy framework. Of course, all these recommendation policy, we have divided the roles on the continental level. The key players will do mainly African Union Commission, at the regional level, regional economic communities, at the country level will be member states. Focal point will be assigned from each member state to really have a communication and exchange the information between the African Union Commission and regional economic communities to have a channel, and also the role of a continental role, regional role, country role will be really given a specific assignment or a specific roles to be placed, key area to be placed. So this is mainly the an idea about the two important digital transformation strategy created by African Union Commission and undertaken for implementation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein, for your presentation. So, Mr. Hussein, in your African Union support, since you are also into innovation.
Yes.
So my question is, what is the progress in the innovation in the banking and other section? What are the new trends happening?
Let me get all questions that I can answer all together, one by one.
No, this is the
If
question.
you agree.
Yeah, this is the question.
Okay, this is the only questions.
Yeah.
We have a department of science and technology. African Union Commission has been really adopted new structure for the African Union Commission administrative structure. Innovation has came one of the main files to our departments. We are working mainly focused on industrialization, but in the meantime, we have in the previous structure and still working the human resource science and technology. They have a really continental strategy to develop and support the innovation, and it has a really bring member states around a common position for developing science and technology and innovation. So this really provide regular policy guidance and really discuss all new and giving really key recommendations, and that it has a really M&E system to really measure the development on that. In addition, African Union Commission award the prize on the margin of EU Summit every year to give a really valuable awards, gifts or present to the most really valuable innovation has been done across the last year. It's really awarded during the meeting by the president himself.
Okay, very good.
In addition to also the capacity building of the member states and some institutions, and to mobilize resources from partners to really have kind of a fruitful partnership with partners and international organization. Also created universities for science and technology for Africa to develop really our youth and people to really have a new mindset and with regard to development of the innovation.
So, Mr. Hussein, have you had a chance to visit Sudan?
Unfortunately, no, because the headquarters of them, one in Cameroon and one in Algiers.
So maybe next year we'll see you in Sudan.
I hope so.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time and for waiting, and lovely presentation. See you in Sudan next year.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this really very important and high-level events. That's really appreciated, and they really given a chance to the African Union Commission to really provide a humble contribution and make awareness about what African Union doing in this area. Thank you very much for you and for organizer and all participants.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein. Thank you.
Thank you.
So to all our attendees, we have come to a close for the day. The exhibition is still open. Please do visit the exhibition booths and do give your valuable feedbacks for us to improve our event for the next edition. Thank you, everyone. See you next year, hopefully in person. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.